Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. First up today in D&D news, we have, Critical Role Critical Role launched last night for Campaign 3, which is big, obviously, but it kind of overshadows most of the other stuff we've got going on, which is probably good that we don't have a whole lot else going on because of that. Otherwise, Fizzbands is now days away from being released, and I highly encourage you to actually go check it out if you are, you know, still excited about it and still waiting on it or on the fence about pre-ordering it. Because I would hate for the day to come and then for you to have to wait because of weird supply chain issues, which is kind of why they've delayed it to begin with. And also in news, less news, more announcement. Reminder that all pledges from patrons going through the end of this month, including your sign up fee essentially, and the full charge at the end of the month of October. I'm going to be matching, and then I'm going to be donating to the Trevor Project, which is a crisis hotline for LGBTQ youths. There we go. They do some really, really phenomenal work, and in honor of Spirit Day, which was yesterday, I really want to make that, sort of a priority, and I think it's a really good place to start support. Moving into streams that we have for today and through the weekend, everything I've got here is for twitch.tv/DND. Friday at 11:30 p.m. we've got Acquisitions Incorporated. Saturday at 4:30 p.m. we've got Let's Get Wild Out. Saturday at 7 p.m. we've got Trace Albus. And Sunday at 7 p.m. we have D4. Now, you can obviously find more D&D streams by just going to Twitch or whatever streaming platform you like, searching D&D, or going through YouTube and searching, hello, cat. There's going to be a cat maybe for a little bit in this one. And searching for D&D live play or actual play or live stream or anything like that. Hi, dude. Can I help you? Anyway, moving on from streams, we've got T&D. Today I have another Caduceus Clay mug I've got. Oh, let's start on this side. It says, help, it's again in this, just off black against the black. And on this side, it's got a tree with a little bitty hand down here. I don't know if you can actually see that. I think you can. I like it a whole lot. I think it's a fun mug. Inside of it is just some straight up green tea because I got a long day of work and I am tired. So, yep. And ahead of actually getting into this video, please excuse me a little bit if I am rambly and weird, kind of, because I am kind of exhausted because I stayed up last night. So that is what we're gonna go with. I'm also gonna say ahead of time, please keep any spoilers for the first episode out of the comments of this video for the next. Probably week, I would say, until the second episode of Campaign 3 drops, just because the point of this video is to kind of encourage people to go check it out. So maybe don't, maybe don't, spoil stuff for them. Maybe? Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Anyway, we are today talking about why you should give Campaign 3 a shot if you are on the fence about it or you have decided you're not going to. And so I am going to get into it a little bit. I don't really have any notes, which usually leads to a lot of rambling. So let's dive into it and see where we get to. Okay? Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Oh boy, this is going to be something else. Okay. So, why I think you should give Campaign 3 a shot if you don't already if you are not already entrenched in it, if you are like, maybe not, maybe it's not for me. Here is the deal, right? Critical Role has evolved so much from a bunch of friends playing D&D around a table in living rooms. It is now obviously the biggest show, the biggest D&D show in the world, in history. And that is phenomenal. That's amazing. That's super cool. But that means that when you watch it, you are also getting all of the production value that goes along with that. And that is a very, very important thing to sort of keep in mind. So you shouldn't go into Critical Role thinking, man, I'm about to watch a super cool D&D game, um, because you're not. And there was somebody at some point on TikTok who had made a video about how Critical Role is not D&D anymore, and I disagree with that. But I do agree that you are not watching necessarily a D&D game anymore, because while I under no circumstance believe that it is a scripted thing, I think that it is a D&D show as opposed to a D&D game now. D&D games are a little bit more like, not always, but oftentimes they have a lot more of like the slapstickiness to it. Um, and they're just a little bit more chaotic. And this is, they're, the players and Matt understand and respect the fact that the core of this thing that they are doing is the story, and they are there to support the story. And while there are a lot of home games that do that thing as well, they are not doing it as a production. They are still doing it as a game in their homes. And so I think that is the first part where you sort of have to like wrap your head around that. You have to make sure that you understand that you are about to watch a D&D show as opposed to necessarily a D&D game. The vehicle of the show is still a D&D game, but you're not really going to get exactly what you signed up for if you go into it wanting a D&D game as opposed to a D&D show. And that's just kind of the way it is. Hopefully that distinction makes sense. It makes a lot of sense in my head, but again, I'm a lot of it right now. Sliding on forward past that, the reason I think that people should, in fact, watch the first episode of Campaign 3 is that the pacing on this first episode was immaculate. Okay? When I tell you that Matt knows how to run a table, man, oh man, does he know how to run a table. I'm not even gonna touch on who the characters are, what they do, and stuff like that. Just that Matt's juggling of the huge group, because again, or not again, to be clear, he is running this table for a massive group of people, right? That is more players than most DMs ever hope to see around their table. Maybe they do because they think that, or they know that means that people are excited to play in their games. But it's a lot of people, so it's kind of a nightmare at the same time. And so there is something like distinctly cool about seeing somebody who is so good at what they do take hold of that chaotic sort of situation, wrangle it down into what it is that they need in order to accomplish what they are going for. And so I highly encourage you to, if nothing else, watch for the table management, because it's truly impressive. And I said we weren't really going to talk about the characters, and we're not. But it is also super cool to see these characters that these professional actors, have come up with and have decided that they want to play and have put a lot of character themselves into. And so I highly encourage you to get out of frame, to take a look for that as well, because it okay, we're just going to set you down right here so that I can keep talking. It is super cool to get to see that. Sorry, guys, I left the door open, and so now he's in here. God, I don't remember what I was saying now. Oh, well. I'm just going to sort of cut to it. The biggest reason I think that you should watch Critical Role Campaign 3 is that right now, it is the only content out for the third campaign, which is super awesome. And because it's the only content out for the third campaign, there isn't the mountain ahead of you to climb, right? Obviously, you know that it's coming, but there is not the mountain ahead of you right now. And so you are not... there isn't necessarily the pressure in front of you to stay up to date, because you have the option essentially currently to get out if it's not for you, and that's okay if it's not for you. Like, just because it's the biggest thing doesn't mean that you have to love it and watch it every single week that it comes out. You can also like let it build up a little bit of a backlog, and then no, um, he's all up in the cables of everything now. You can let it build up a little bit of backlog, and then like turn around and give yourself a little bit more to binge through if you want to. But that is why I think ultimately you should really give it a shot, because you have currently the ability to say you are up to date and then say you're not a fan of it and bow out early on. And nobody, I can't say nobody's going to judge you, but like there's not the added pressure of, oh, well, if you just make it to this episode, they've really hit their stride. And it's like 10 more episodes in, which is 40 more hours of content for you to consume. Because there's not that content out there right now, right? And you'll run into that at some point. When they make it further into the campaign, people will start people will start telling you like, oh, but if you just make it to this episode, they really hit their stride. Oh, but if you just make it here, it gets better. Oh, whatever. That, sure, maybe they're going to settle into their characters a little bit more. But for my money, what I can see right now, they are as in stride as they ever have been with these characters. They are on the highest production quality set they've ever had, which means that they drop into character instantly when they walk on. They are a hyper experienced team at this point, having run the biggest D&D show in the world for 6.5 years. They are masters at the top of their field. Sure, there's going to be a little bit of learning that goes on, but they have done it already. They are done. So in my mind, they don't need the hitting their stride thing. They're going to work out some kinks with like learning the characters, but they are ready to go. And so if you start now and you give it this first week, maybe give it a second or a third as well. And at that point, I think if you are not enjoying yourself, you have every right to bow out, because they are at the pinnacle of what they could be at that point, I think. And obviously, I do think it'll get better as we go through. But right now, they're it. They're good to go. And the way that the episode felt last night too, to me, felt like we picked up in the middle of a big campaign, that they are super familiar with the characters. Even though there was the awkward introductions and everything like that. I think that they are ready to go, and thank you, just absolutely killing it already. So I encourage you, if you were not sure about it or you weren't going to give Campaign 3 a try. Just to start, because, again, there's not going to be the pressure afterwards of people telling you, oh, just make it to here and it gets better. They have all of the production value and all of the experience behind them to make it as good as they can, and if that vibe doesn't fit yours, then you'll know that early on. And if nothing else, it is a very good example of how of a very good way to run a first session around a table if you are playing characters that don't all intimately know each other already. So that's my pitch for watching the first episode of Campaign 3 of Critical Role. I don't really have a whole lot more to say on it. Well, I do. I have so much more to say on it, but I'm not going to right now. I know this is going to be a shorter video, but I'm also exhausted, so that feels right. So with all that said, I'm going to wrap up there. Thank you guys so much for making me part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much to my patrons in particular. You guys are the ones that really make this show happen. Reminder again, any and all new pledges and ongoing pledges to my Patreon will be donated to the Trevor Project for the month of October. So please, if you're able to and willing, the link to that is in the description below. I would really, really appreciate it. That is, I believe, everything that I've got. So have a phenomenal weekend. I will see you guys on Monday, and until next time, keep on rolling.